Navajo County Connection. I'll be your host today, Jason Whiting, Navajo County Board Chairman. And co-host today with us is Paul Watson, the Assistant County Manager. Glad to have you with us today, Paul.
Nice to be here, thank you.
This month of April, we'll be discussing child abuse prevention. And more than just the prevention, we're going to be talking about education of child abuse and looking for those early warning signs, hoping that we can educate Navajo County and helping us to keep our children safe. With us today, we have CASA Coordinator, Alysia Heward. Thank you for being here with us today. Really appreciate you taking the time to be here. Please tell us a little bit about the CASA program and the good that you guys do.
Okay. CASA stands for Court Appointed Special Advocate, and we recruit everyday people to become advocates for children in foster care. We send them through a rigorous training and screening process. Then they select a case and a child to be dedicated to. Then they get involved in every aspect of the case and report back to the judge for the judge to make a decision about the best interest of the child.
Cool. So in addition to what you just shared, can you tell us a little bit about Child Abuse Prevention Month and what happens during that month? Yeah,
I have some statistics here I want to share. An estimated 4 to 8 children in the U.S. die from abuse and neglect every day, and over the course of a year, 700,000 children will enter the child welfare system due to abuse or neglect. And during April, we just want to raise awareness that there is a problem and there are ways to help. In Navajo County alone, there are 96 children in foster care, and we would love to provide a CASA volunteer for each one, but unfortunately right now that's just not the reality.
What can community members, that being said, I mean, if you're needing more, what can they do to get more involved with CASA?
So to become a CASA volunteer, they can contact me, and also they can get involved with support groups that provide for kids in care.
Perfect. Those are some opportunities. Mm-hmm. Appreciate you talking about that a little bit. I know that you guys have like an event. There's some outreach that you guys do to try and bring awareness to this. You guys have an event that's coming up here shortly, right?
The Friends of CASA, Navajo County Friends of CASA has an annual meeting that is happening tomorrow, and it's basically to raise awareness to the CASA program and what they do as a 501c3.
Perfect.
And anyone's invited to attend that
Yes.
meeting, that annual meeting?
Yes.
Super. Are there other programs that maybe we haven't discussed yet that you'd want to mention as far as CASA and
Sure,
what
you can also volunteer to, if you can't become a CASA volunteer, you can volunteer to be part of a foster care review board. There is a high need for foster homes if you're able to, bring children into your home to be a foster parent, or as I said, you can donate to any of the nonprofit organizations that provide for kids in foster care.
Great. Are there a lot of other organizations here in Navajo County that support outside of CASA?
Support
for like child abuse and whatnot. Are there other organizations outside of CASA that are trying to work towards preventing child abuse?
Well, I believe there's agencies that are working within, I don't know. I know community counseling centers, they do work towards, child abuse prevention and understanding and awareness. But there's, one of the best ways to get involved in child abuse prevention is to become educated. And if you see some form of abuse, to report it, or if you are concerned about something that's going on, report it.
And again, and I apologize, I know you've been talking about this a little bit, the statistics, that's high. We got 96 kids that are involved in this. We don't have enough CASA, excuse me, we don't have enough CASA people to sign up as far as partners. So how do people, let's say I want to get involved, I want to go sign up, I want to do something to help. What's that process? Walk me through that. What do I go and do?
To become a CASA volunteer, you would contact me. I would send you the information. You would make a determination whether or not you feel like you have the time to commit to the CASA program. And I would say it's generally about 15 to 20 hours a month dedicated to your case. And then you would send me your application, and we would start the application process. You would, do fingerprinting, and because of the vulnerability of the children, you would, have to take a lie detector test. And anyway, there's a rigorous background check done. And then we would send you to training, and you would become a CASA volunteer after the training and everything. And then the judge would appoint you to a specific case.
Oh, perfect.
So,
Is there a phone number? Or?
yeah, I was just going to say, so that first step of contacting you, is there a website or
Yeah,
a
the
phone
website-
number or something that they can go to find out that information?
Yeah, the website's Navajo County CASA of NavajoCounty.org, and the phone number you can call me at is 928-524-4135.
Well, we certainly appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining us today, and thanks for helping as much as you do in our communities, especially with these children.
Thank you.
They're our future, and we want to make sure that they're safe and all's well with them. Coming up, we'll be discussing or talking with Mary Jane Springer and Catrina Jenkins, Navajo County fire preparedness. So it should be an interesting show as we continue on. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Navajo County Connection. We have with us now the Dream Team, Navajo County Emergency Management Team, and we're going to introduce them here in just a moment. But before we do, we just talked about CASA, and we talked about their involvement in our community and how they can help our youth with child abuse prevention. There's some financial opportunities for those of us in the community that see so fit to be able to try and help them out. And Mr. Watson is going to talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, thank you. I know from personal experience, I have participated in the Friends of CASA golf tournament. I don't know if they will continue to do that, but it's been a great event in the past and raised a lot of money from what I understand. I also just recently learned that they also have they are now a tax credit organization, which means you can actually donate money directly to them and take an equal dollar amount tax credit off of your tax return. So it's a great way to give back, and you can contact Alysia, who we just spoke to a minute ago, to get more information on that. But good programs and good opportunities to at least contribute financially if you can't participate in another way.
So there's lots of opportunities to try and help out these kids, and we'd encourage those that are able to please do so. All right, back to the Dream Team. You guys ready for this?
We're ready.
We have a fun topic we want to talk to you guys about today. We know you're prepared to be able to talk about it. Our Navajo County Emergency Management Director, Mary Jane Springer, and of course our Emergency Management Coordinator, Catrina Jenkins. Welcome, and glad to have you here with us today.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you guys both for being. Well, as we all know, we're coming up with fire season. And so far in 2016, it's not been the El Nino we had hoped for. So this is going to be a concern for many of the people in this area. With the dry spell that we've had, what are some of the things that we can do to prepare in Navajo County for fire season?
Well, there are a lot of things that you can prepare. One of the big things that's coming up in the month of April is Firewise Assessor Training. And that's going to be held in Pine Top at the fire stations on Buck Springs Road, April 22nd and 23rd. And that educates people on what to look for around houses and where they can actually go out into the community and help their neighbors and help the fire departments take a look at what needs to be addressed in Firewise thought process. So it's a good program. And it's put on by the fire departments and the Forest Service to educate the public.
That's great. So what can we do as community members and homeowners to kind of address making our own properties more fire safe? What are some suggestions you have on how we firewise our own properties?
There's a lot of things citizens can do. First of all, just simple landscape tips is planting different types of brush that are fire resistant, spacing them so that they are less likely to burn, checking your gutters and rooftops for dead leaves and needles, cleaning up the dry stuff, checking the branch levels. There's a lot of ways they can do that.
So if I have a wood stove or fireplace, stacking the wood right against my house is probably not a good thing.
Probably not. Want to move those wood piles away from the home now that it's warming up, and also go ahead and move any wood furniture like picnic tables that are made out of wood. Those can get moved away from the house too, because those will catch on fire and then catch the house. Also, vents could be covered either in the attic or the foundation vents. Sparks sometimes get in there or under decks.
Anything combustible, especially when later in the season, if we were to go into fire restrictions, anything that's combustible, even like LP tanks on your barbecues and stuff, you want to make sure those things are away from your house.
Define away. Like, we're going to go and drive it down the road, put it on my neighbor's property. I mean, when you say away, how far away is safe?
I would say at least 30 feet. You definitely don't want it right up next to the house. If you can get it 15, 10, even anything will help, especially the firefighters that are coming out to protect your home. Any little thing you can do to help them do their job properly is what they need you to do. So moving it 5, 10, 15, whatever your boundary lines are, away from your home, that's what's going to help in the long run.
Okay, so just using some common sense.
Common sense and
what you can do and getting it away from the house is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yep.
You guys have used the term Firewise community. Forgive me, but help me to understand. What does that mean, be a Firewise community?
A Firewise community is just that. It's a community effort, because if you're going to protect your homes in the wildland urban interface, and they call that WUI. So if you hear WUI, it's not
WUI?
a cheer or a chant. It's actually a real term, but it's people that live within that area as a community to not just protect your own home, because that doesn't do it. It has to take the whole community. So it's like Pine Top Country Club and different organizations that get together to look at the whole community and neighborhoods. So if a fire were to come blow through, you've done the best things you can do to protect yourselves and your community members. And we've seen videos where people that have done that have worked together, where fires do come through, because they will go through, but they don't ignite the patio furniture and the LP tanks and the pine needles and the excess trees around your property. So that's what being a Firewise community, being educated, inspecting, and then helping each other out as a community.
So you just mentioned, if or when a fire does come through. So if there is an emergency that does occur, what's the best way for citizens to get information on that emergency and what they need to do?
Well, we have a couple ways of doing it. We have been out in many communities promoting the Ready Navajo County Emergency Notification System. And community members, citizens, even visitors can go to our website, click on the quick links, and register to be on the emergency notification system. In fact, we're handing out these nice bands that remind people where to go and how to sign up. The other thing is we have 311 information, both a recorded message, which you'll hear Catrina's voice, and an internet site where we post vetted information from law enforcement, from fire, from forestry. It's not like a Twitter or a Facebook page that's not monitored and not protected for good information. We post things that have been vetted through those agencies.
So for example, if I go on to the website and sign up under your program, and I put as a contact my cell phone, if an emergency does occur, will I receive something on my cell phone that tells me about that emergency, or how does that happen?
you'll get an alert either on your cell phone. You could have it registered onto your home phone number if you still have a landline phone. If you want a text message, an email, there's a various different ways you can receive your alerts. The best part about it is you get to pick in what order you receive your alerts. So if you have multiple phone lines, you get to pick the order that you get your alert on. So for example, your cell phone, your wife's cell phone, or a child's cell phone, if they want to get the alerts as well. So this system does alert you in a lot of different ways. And the email's great to do, because then if we're sending out a picture or a map with an evacuation route, you're going to get to see the whole picture. Whereas a text, you might not get all of the information just because of the size. We only have 140 characters on the text.
That makes sense.
Information's interesting. I mean, obviously, really appreciate you guys' leadership in this as you guys have tried to connect with the community. There's ways that we can now gather information, whether it be through a text message or through these things. So you've talked about some ways that our citizens can get information on emergencies and what's going on. But what happens when they have questions, and or maybe that they've seen a fire start and they want to report it, or they want to do? What would you tell the citizens to do? If they have questions, where do they go to? How do they reach out to be able to have those answered?
Questions, I would say the local fire departments, if it's fire questions. If it's questions for emergency management, we're always happy to take information and questions. And if we don't have the answers, we'll lead them to the right folks that do. If it's an emergency situation, you always call 911. That's your first line of defense, is that. So police department, fire department, emergency management, we're all here to help.
Let me ask you a question too. Obviously, fire season comes up, but at the same time, we see these communities all boom with visitors coming up to go and camp and to be able to spend time in the forest, and we welcome that. We want to have them there. But what would you say, even for our local people? I go out and go camping with my family, enjoy the mountains. What do we need to do when we're out in that type of environment, away from our home, to try, in public lands, to be safe with forest fires and those types of things?
I always recommend staying mindful of your fire. Never leave it unattended. Even just a couple of minutes, a spark can get away and ignite grasses in the area. So make sure you put those fires out completely. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave. Those are just some of our taglines. We are following the one less spark campaign this week and this month. Every year we've tried to follow that one. So making sure you don't leave those fires unattended is probably our biggest one. Every year we have fires get out of their rings and cause bigger fires. So
One less spark. What's that mean? What's the program? You said you have a program?
It's actually a national campaign.
Okay.
For one less spark. That means one less source of ignition, whether it's a campfire or whether it's a chainsaw, whether it's driving your car on dry grass, dragging chain, any kind of a spark. It's amazing that just the car on dry grass, if you have a blown out tire and you pull off the side with your catalytic converter, the heat from that and the dry grass will barbecue your car. And it's happened many, many times, and fire starts. And if you got a little bit of wind blowing some of those embers, you've got a fire start that gets out of control pretty quick.
Didn't we already this year have a fire that was somebody out target practicing or something?
In dry grass, yeah.
In dry grass?
Clay Springs, I believe,
Yep.
that area, 592 acres.
So even just shooting your gun can cause a spark, right?
Correct.
being
if it hits a
mindful of
rock.
where you're at and what you're doing, what you can cause is the biggest key.
And I know the communities have rallied around this idea as the county with the red flag warnings and those types of things. I know here not too long ago, even when I was going camping, I tried to figure out, well, how do I know if it's a red flag today? Because I want to have a fire to be able to cook my food, to be able to do this. How does a community know, or how does an individual know whether it's a red flag warning day or not? Where do they go to find that?
They can check on our 311 information page, which is 311info.net. They can call their local fire department or district. Many of those have burn lines. that you call. It's a number that you can call with a recording whether or not it's okay to burn that day or not. We will be happy to take phone calls, like Mary said. We will find out. And just calling dispatchers, the sheriff's office dispatch, the fire department dispatchers, they'll all know as well. There's also a website, firerestrictions.us, and they'll let you know what the current restrictions status are.
Excellent. Well, that's good to know. Now I know some places that I can go to, and hopefully our viewers will as well, to be able to check for those red flag warnings and know whether it's a day that we can have a fire and or not, and shouldn't, so we can be better stewards of our land and really try to protect our homes and our families up here.
Well, we actually also have a group called the Fire Restrictions Working Group, and we meet every Wednesday, teleconference, and it's agencies across the counties between Apache County, Navajo County. We even have Greenlee and Graham that are invited to participate. Local law enforcement, Forest Service, State Forestry, all the fire departments. And we talk about the forest conditions. What's the weather looking like? Because several years ago, you'd have an agency that went into restrictions, but right next door, right across the street, is another agency, and they weren't. So we've combined our efforts. So if we were to have to go into restrictions, we do it as a coordinated effort. And we do it with intelligence. We base it on the science, the weather, what's dry out there in the forest. So we just had a phone call today, and they said that we were actually 6 weeks ahead of the season starting. So we're in it. We're in wildfire season.
Just on a personal note, I was a town manager of Pinetop Lakeside when we had the Rodeo Chetasky fire and had to evacuate Shello and Pinetop Lakeside, and I can tell you personally that's an experience I don't ever want to have again. Once is enough.
Yeah.
Once is too many, actually, but so this is great that we're being more aware and doing campaigns to help people be more aware of the things they can do to help us keep our place that we live in safe. So
I think it's great too that not only are we trying to have outreach to the communities to let them know about how to be fire safe and those types of things, but I was interested to hear that the communities, the counties, and other departments such as the Forest Service, we're all trying to work together on trying to partner and find a better way moving forward. So, well, certainly appreciate you guys being here with us today. Appreciate the hard work and determination you guys have as the emergency management dream team. And you guys do a great job, and I know that we're planning on going around and meeting with a few of the community leaders and discussing these very issues in some of their council meetings here coming up. So we appreciate your time, and we appreciate you being here on the show with us today. So thank you both for joining us here on Navajo County Connection.
Thank you for having us.
As Smokey the Bear said growing up, I remember hearing all the time, only you can prevent forest fires. So anyways, we appreciate you guys being here, and thanks a lot, everybody.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.